Agriculture in Australia is worth around $155 billion to our economy and accounts for around 12% of GDP. Increasingly, it's under threat, not just from the elements, but from Chinese economic coercion. From beef to barley, lobster to wine, sour grapes between China and Australia is having a major impact on our agricultural industry. Trade tariffs, bans and restrictions are hitting Australia's bottom line by billions of dollars every year. Now, new deals are offering some hope for Australian producers.
We're a nation of 26 million people. We produce enough food for 80 million. So if we don't engage, we don't trade with the world, then we don't need the number of farmers we got, and we don't need the regional communities that support them. Britain will be free trade agreement number 15, and that's important. It's also important to put into context, while we have had challenges with China with particular commodities, our agricultural trade exports continue to increase, and beef is a perfect example despite some suspension of some abattoirs. We actually did our China free trade agreement quota in beef last year in July, when we normally do it about October, November every year. So the demand for Australian product is still there. But what we're doing is giving the opportunity for diversification, spreading the risk and being able to send boats left and right if we've got a problem with one. And grain is another perfect example. Barley was also hit by China. We sent our first boatload into Mexico because of the TPP-11. We secured an extra 750,000 tonne agreement with Saudi Arabia, and we've got better agreements with Pakistan and Sri Lanka in being able to fumigate in transit and reduce the number, and the same with India. So this is just us. Our job's just to put the environment. We will never tell Australian exporters or farmers where they should export to. Our job is simply to give them the opportunity to make that decision and make sure they diversify and don't have market concentration, which we probably did move towards. But now we've got 14 other free trade agreements to actually to play with. We're now saying to the farmers, here's your opportunity.
If we do look at the impact that some of the decisions, by the Chinese government over the last 12 months have had at the farm gate, they've absolutely had that massive impact. So when we saw the decisions and the introduction of tariffs on the Australian barley industry in early 2020, that immediately dropped the price of barley at the farm gate around $40 a tonne back to the farmer. So we did see that immediate impact. But it's really also important to remember that we do have a whole range of global opportunities for Australian grain, and we do have a really diversified, market structure for the way we sell our grains into the globe. So look, China was a really big market for Australia. We were selling, from a barley perspective, we sold the majority of our export barley into China, so it was about 60 to 70% of our barley went into that premium malt market into China, helping feed that growing global demand for and thirst for beer and spirits and high-end malt-based products. And so we really did, suffer some of that shock over the last 12 months. What we have done as an industry is continue to look at how we can make the most of continuing to service other markets in the meantime and grow new markets where we haven't sold barley before.
Once again, it's the quality of our produce that makes all the difference.
We've always aimed for quality in Australia, and we've got really good standards around regulations around chemicals and those type of things. They're well regulated, they're well tested. That quality thing helps us compete in the world market. We've got some freight advantages going into Southeast Asia, and some challenges around going into certain countries at the moment. The government's working to find new markets. We put some barley into Mexico this year, which was a first. Look, we're flexible with what we grow. Fortunate in the grains industry, we can change something and grow a different crop the next year. So whereas a horticultural enterprise or a tree crop enterprise, they can't change. They've got what they got, so vineyards or whatever. We deliberately grew less barley. We were locked in last year. We had our crop in before the tariffs came in. But yeah, we've deliberately grown less barley this year.